What's up, SFL? It's been a little while. Last week I had to go on that vacation, so I'm sorry about that. But I am by myself now, so that means it's SFL news time, and we're gonna try to hit this stuff up real quick. Try to get everybody catched up on what I missed. So what we're gonna do is here, we're gonna go ahead and jump right into the first playoff weeks. Um, and does this everyone want to start? Yeah, yeah, I'll start right here. We'll go ahead and do the first playoff weeks. Um, and the brackets came out to myself versus Magic School Bus, and then House of Priapism versus Martial Law. Um, Now, one thing that I did want to go over was about the the playoff seeding. So I thought Dylan would get knocked out, and he didn't. And the reason why that happened, let me see if I can find here the playoffs so I can show you guys this. So the reason why I thought that happened is I foolishly was ranking I was doing the seedings from bottom to top, and the computer did the seedings from top to bottom. So let me explain what I mean. So what happened was we thought we go, okay, so we had the 12th, the 10th, the ninth, right? We have the 6 and 5s here, and then we have the first 7 and 7. And this is the big tiebreaker here. One, two, three, four. All these four teams all have 7 and 7. And I was doing seeding from bottom to top. So what I thought that meant would be everyone is 7 and 7. We're gonna look at who has the most who has the least points for. The person with the least point for would be the one disqualified, and then that person would be the eighth seed. That's how I thought would happen because that makes sense to me. You come down to a tiebreaker, you want the team with the least points scored. If it comes down to a giant tiebreaker like this, where it's four teams, you want the team with the least points scored to be the team knocked out, but that's not what happened. What happened was we had the seeding go from top to bottom. So when we got to number 5 seed here, that's when we did tiebreakers, and then they put the person with the most points scored on top. And then they went to number 6, rinse and repeat the tiebreakers, which then came down to poor Kim and Dylan because Rob had just a monster last week of the season and he beat out Kim by 2 points. So then it came down to just these two, and then it did a head to head, and that's why Dylan made it in and Kim got knocked out. So for everyone who I misleaded with that, I'm sorry. I didn't know how to work properly. Uh, I kind of want to propose a rule change so it does seed from bottom to top instead of top to bottom for next season. You guys tell me if you think that's a stupid idea or not. I think it's a good idea. Um, it would make things easier, and it would mean the team with the least amount of points get knocked off, which I think is the most important thing is the teams that deserve to get into the playoffs get into the playoffs in my mind. Um, so yeah. But regardless, enough rambling. Let's go back to where we were. Um, right on over here. First week of the playoffs. So Dylan made it in. I did not, or I made it in as the number 2. Dylan's as the number 7. Rob is number 6. Gary is number 3. And Holden got the bye week. Um, and then on the other side, we have the consolation games because um, yeah, the consolation games are playing for not getting um, they're renamed. So we look here. Uh, these guys, four of them are going to get renamed. So whoever wins the toilet bowl, if you will, is the one that is going to not get renamed. So that's what you guys are fighting for here on the bottom, whereas we are fighting for a championship. So yeah, week one we had kickers, Bihaz versus Ariel, Rob and Gary went at it, me and Dylan. Um, so let's go ahead and look at those games. I'm a little bit all over the place when I'm by myself. Sorry, guys. Uh, yeah, and here we had just an absolute stinker of a game, 167 to 147. Um, and this is a playoff game. It's kind of unbelievable. Bijan Robinson got less than 1 point, which is rough. Uh, Diaz finally put his cousin on his team, and then his cousin goes ahead and misses two field goals. Just ouch. His Optum was 161, so it didn't even matter who he put in. He was going to lose no matter what because his players had such bad games. And on the other side of the field, we had Ariel, and he did make some suboptimal decisions on who to play. He had a 210 optimum, so he actually had a good week. He just didn't play the right guys. Ezekiel Elliott against Kansas City. Kansas City has a strong, rough run defense, so he just didn't make it in there. And yeah, um, that really kind just basically explains it. Ariel deserved to win that week, and he did. Made it on to the next round. Um, and then on this side, we had Rob versus Gary, and um, Rob just manhandled them. Both of them made pretty much the optimal starting decisions, and Rob scores 200, which is, that's the acceptable amount of points you should be scoring in the playoffs. Gary scored 180, which is a rough loss. Um, and honestly, his team just didn't come through for him. Big ones were Kittle and Hall. Didn't do enough. And on the other side, Rob just had himself a game. I just honestly can't believe he's still starting Drake London. If he had started anybody else, he would have had a slightly better game. But look at all these 20s on here. Just a great week from Rob, which pushed them to the next round. And then my game versus Skull Bus, both of us came into this game limping. We both lost quarterbacks. I I played three tight ends or two tight ends. I played a tight end in the super flex. Think about that, guys. I played fucking Kyle Pitts in the super flex because I was on a cruise. I didn't get my waiver wires. D House fucked me hard. Fuck you, D House. Uh, he just outbid kick or the quarterback for no reason. He specifically just to fuck me over. I can't believe he would do something like that. Well, actually, I can't believe it, but it's crazy. But yeah, this game just sucked. Both of us scored 150, 160. Our players didn't do much. Our optimums weren't that much better. I mean, I could have started Wicks, but I don't know if anybody would have started him. Um, Dylan had some guys he could have put in that would have beaten me. For example, Meyer. He could have put Meyer in at flex, I believe. Yeah, replaced Tyler Lockett. And the crazy thing, talking about Tyler Lockett, you guys remember Dylan and I made a trade at the trade deadline where I sent him Lockett and he sent me Puka Nakua. We both sent each other quarterbacks as well, but both of them got hurt, so it didn't matter on that side. But if you put Puka back at Lockett or in Lockett's place and give me Lockett, Dylan wins this game. Like Dylan killed himself, uh, and by doing that trade, which is very sad. That as great as it feels for me to win by having made the proper trade, this made the right side of that trade. It probably feels worse for him for having made the wrong side of the trade. Um, and had he gone in and not made that trade, he would be in the finals right now because he would be in my spot, and he had an even better week than me without Puka Nakua on this team, and he would be into the finals. So big rough one. Also a rough one for Big Truck Little Willie, who had a 238-point game last week and a 237-point game, 230 games back to back on the playoff weeks. And thank you, Ariel. Thank you for knocking Big Truck Little Willie out of the playoffs. Needed that. Needed that so much. So we'll go ahead and look at what happened in the toilet bowl. Um, the two worst teams faced off against each other, and that was Jordan and Victor. And Victor had a 116-point game, and Jordan had a playoff type of game. So Victor is officially getting renamed. Jordan is going on to the next round. Back to the winners bracket, and this was this week that just happened. So we had Holden versus Martian Law, the Elderly Gangbang versus Martian Law. Elderly Gangbang with the 100% coach rating, the 100% coach rating, and a loss, 178 points. I don't feel like Holden played the waiver wire too much. Maybe shouldn't have spent so much money on Zach Wilson early to start off the season, and maybe you could have made the right pickups to win you the game. But honestly, even with the right pickups, I don't think you win. I mean, are you going to start Pollard no matter what? Because he's the one who sucked. I mean, maybe you start Pollard no matter what. I mean, Pollard is probably the big reason why you lost. Hopkins sucked too, and Waddle sucked. Yeah. I don't know if you set any of those guys for a waiver wire, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong about that. On the other side of on the field, Rob squeaked out a win, 183 points on the back of his kicker with 33 points. Rob winning because of kickers yet again. Let's go, Rob. Do the great work. And yeah, this team just performed about normal. DJ Moore, and he's still starting Drake London. Please start Drake London against me, Rob. Really appreciate that if you do. Um, yeah, 178 points, not great, not bad, or 183 with a stat correction from Jay Sanders for kicking the winning field goal. Gets him into the finals, and on the other side, we had myself versus Campbell Soup. Um, 195 to 150. Campbell Soup optimal was 187, so no matter who he puts in, he still loses. During the game, he was complaining that Mason Rudolph sitting on the bench with 31 points, Connor 24 points. Didn't matter. He could have started him. He would have still lost. And really comes down to Butker having a shit game, the Walker having a shit game, and Jay Judy just being a bad player. You know, have those players not have bad games, he could have possibly won this. On my side, I could have started Pitts and Dortch, and it would have gotten me more points. But 195 is respectable. Which gets me the win, which puts me in the finals versus Rob, which is great. I love to be there. And then on the other side for the loser bracket, the not get renamed, we had Jordan versus Kim. Kim 164, Jordan at 127, and Kim just beat him, just beat him. Didn't have that great of a game with two players getting injured, Addison and Hawkinson getting injured. Rough time, but still enough to put away the W. Pat Fryer move on Jordan's side, put up a straight 0 point game. All the injuries and stuff, uh, you know, help this. So erectile dysfunction while a lollipop is going to get renamed yet again. Chalupa Vagina has a chance to get rid of that name as she goes on to the final against Big Truck Little Willie, who beat my constant diarrhea. So Kyle's going to get renamed 2 years in a row. I'm sure he feels terrible about that. Kyle's not one to like losing in fantasy football. And Big Truck Little Willie has a chance to no longer be Beat Truck Little Willie. thanks to this massive win, 237 points. It had 254-point optimum. Like, what is going on this team? Baker Mayfield, 35 points. Kesher McCaffrey always balling out. Pickens with 37 points. What the hell is going on? Wow. Yeah. Kyle lost. He had to put up a good effort, but this is the big one right here. Devontae Adams for 2.4 points, and those A Chain for only 3.6. Those are the big ones. And then he had a kicker get hurt mid game. That was brutal too, because Cleveland kept on just going for it instead of kicking the field goal. So they had a bunch of probably had a bunch of field goals. This game would have been really close if Hopkins didn't get hurt. Oh, not really close. Maybe like another 20 points or so. But if Adams had a real game and he didn't get hurt, then maybe this game would have been close. Um, and yeah, so that brings us to this week's the championship game. So we're gonna be playing right here, myself versus Rob. I believe these are the final lineups, unless some injuries or things, because waiver wire went through. Uh, maybe Rob starts Herbert in in the flex. Maybe I don't know. I'm not gonna give him any ideas. I should shut up. But both of our teams have some pretty decent lineups or some pretty decent matchups. I mean, Atlanta and Tennessee are just middle of the pack, but Philadelphia and Washington are soft as hell. So Murray and Purdy should have good games, while Fields and Cedar Stroud should have normal game. Um, I am playing some defense against this Kyler Murray by playing Greg Dortch. So hopefully, some of those points from Kyler Murray goes to Dortch. So I'm trying to play some defense there against this super soft Philadelphia defense who gives up a ton of touchdowns and yards to wide receivers. Um, Hoping Dortch will do work. And Philadelphia should move the ball against Arizona as well, which means Dortch should be returning some quick returns. Um, but or the running back matchups, I think he's got me on the running back matchups. I mean, Dallas is tough and Baltimore is tough, but Barkley's going up against the Los Angeles Rams, which is real rough. At least ETN is going up against Carolina, which is super soft. But ETN has not been playing well the last couple of weeks. I regretted trading him somewhere around here, week 10-ish. Because I knew these touchdowns would start to go away, and they have. The touchdowns have basically disappeared, which sucks for me. But it's good for Rob. Uh, and then for the wide receivers, I already said I'm going to play Dortch in the flex. It looks like he's going through running back with Mixon against Kansas City. Good luck. The actual wide receivers, he has more against Atlanta, which has been shutting down the wide receivers. Tyreek Hill, hopefully his ankle doesn't hurt as much and he can go a little bit more loose because Baltimore is kind of rough. But Tyreek Hill seems to just do whatever he wants against whoever. I think the injury is the only thing that's really going to hold him back. Osborne against Green Bay, that's his weakest player. Actually, London versus Green Bay might be his weakest player. Both of these wide receivers I do not like. Rashid Shaheed is going to go up against Tampa Bay, which has been soft, soft, soft. So I'd love to see it. Hopefully they give up some deep bombs to Shaheed. Another 70-yard touchdown to Shaheed would be nice. I got Puka Nakua going up against the Giants, who's also soft as hell. So hopefully another 30-point game from Puka Nakua. And then we come to our tight ends. He's got McBride versus Philly. Going up, he's got this nice little stack of Murray McBride against a soft Philly defense, whereas Porta is going up against Dallas, who's a little bit rougher as Saturday night. So I think McBride actually probably has a better game than Sam Laporta, unfortunately. And then the kickers, he's got the better kicker matchup. So maybe he has another another 30-point kicker game and wins because of it. It makes me cry, and then we force him to buy a kicker jersey. But I think these are the actual lineups that we are gonna go with. I think these are the ones that makes the most sense. I don't know if he sits Jason Fields and puts in Browning. That would be really dumb. He did pick up Herbert. Maybe he plays him. We shall see. But I think I win this one. And I'm not just saying that because it's me. I am the highest projected, and I do have some really good matchups going into this week. So yeah, it should be a good game regardless. If Rob wins, that will be his second win. So if Rob wins, then it'll be him, Kyle, and I sitting at the top with 2 wins in the SFL. If I win, then I by myself go up to 3 wins as the official leader of the SFL yet again. I'd love to see that. If I do win, I'll buy a better, I'll use the funding from winning to buy me some better equipment for streaming, I guess, so you guys can have some better podcasts. Maybe a better microphone, like a real microphone, and an actual good camera or something. So maybe the podcast can get a little bit better if I win. If I don't win, then you guys get this shit all the time. Just shit, quality videos. And this is for third place. We got Elderly Gangbang versus Campbell Soup. Dak's been on a row. Look at this. A lot of 50 and 40-point games. I had that one 10-point game against Buffalo, but other than that, pretty good. Um, yeah, he is projected to win by about 13. This Ariel doesn't have a quarterback. I mean, he could play Rudolph. He's really gonna play Zeke over Rudolph again. I don't know. I don't know if he does. I don't know if he does. Oh, I think this could actually be close. But again, I think Holden has the best team. He just had a really rough week. I think he comes out and wins third place. If he doesn't win third place, I'm sorry, Holden. That was suck. And then the final constellation games, the one that truly matters, this one. It's Big Truck, Little Willie versus Chalupa Vagina 2, Vaginal Chipaloo. Uh, uh, Little Willie is projected to win by a lot, and I can see why. He just has a better team. Scored 232.2 weeks in a row. The big problem with Big Truck Little Willie all season was been that his team is inconsistent. When he has a good game, he has a really good game, and then he also has really bad games, and then he loses because of that too. Um, but yeah, I think will be able to rename himself back to the Midnight Ride, get the Midnight Ride back, and then everybody else gets renamed. And I believe that is all, because that was a lot of time talking and rambling about random shit by myself. And you guys probably already fell asleep listening to this. I doubt anyone is even going to watch it anyway, at least this far. So, I'll see you guys later. After the championship, I'll have another pod. I probably want to try to get Dylan or Will on for that pod to be the pod that wraps everything up. We'll look at all the trades, see what could have been if the trades didn't happen, yada yada, stuff like that. But just wanted this to be like get everybody back up to speed from the pods that I missed, and predict the winner, which is probably going to be me, hopefully. And with that, SFL, thank you so much. Y'all have a good day.